Good enough. Okay, Anthony, take me through your day as far as trucks go. From the beginning, who orders the trucks?
Superintendent.
Okay. And how does he know how many trucks to get?
Based off of his opinion and my recommendation.
Gotcha. Okay. What do you do if a truck breaks down or has a flat tire?
Hopefully.
How do you know about it, first of all?
My whole operator tracks trucks on how many loads. He does a tick mark on paper every time a truck comes in. We know if one's missing.
If he's missing, then
we don't know what happened to him or when we're getting our paperwork.
Perfect. What do you like about, let's say, Frank's Trucking, for instance? What do you like about that company?
Call him if I need 20 trucks. I call him and he does his best he can to get me 20 trucks.
What happens when he cannot get you 20 trucks?
I have to settle for what I get.
And what does that do to the company? What does that do to your cost per yard?
It makes it more expensive. Because that excavator sitting on that pile, whether he's moving or not, costs the company the same amount of money.
Why don't you call another trucking outfit?
There's currently no trucks available.
Is it it's just a mutual respect thing that you're going to use him, or is there a contract with Frank's Truck?
Mutual respect.
Okay, so there is no contract.
Correct.
So
that I'm aware of.
That you're aware of. No, I don't think there is. So if another company comes in and says, I've got 50 trucks, I can supply your trucks, what do you do then?
I would take those trucks.
You would take them. So there is really no loyalty.
Right. Well, no, because he's
first.
He's first. If he can only supply me 16, okay, I will get the other 4 from there. And eventually, whoever gives you the best guarantee is who you're going to have to go with, if it means phasing Frank out.
So why do you use Frank's trucks?
We kind of inherited him when we took this job. He already had the trucking with the superintendent that was going to do this job.
Right.
He handles, the way I understand it, he handles all the trucking for Tapney on this side of town.
Okay. What could be improved with hiring truck? I'm going to turn on the AC.
Knowing, I guess the best part would be knowing how many trucks you're going to get, which is kind of hard. You know, he calls and he's got commitments from 5 different companies to provide trucks.
Right.
If the driver don't show up or the truck breaks down, it's kind of out of his control. But yet you only have that one source to pull from.
Right. So if you order 15 trucks, you have no idea how many trucks you're getting.
Correct.
Until they show up.
Correct.
And then they do sometimes add other trucks and you have no idea they're even coming.
Correct.
Okay.
If a job shuts down early and they know they shorted us on trucks, they will give those trucks to us. They get signed out early on another job.
So if there was, let's say, BDZ over here is hauling, and they've got 30 trucks over there, and you guys have 12 trucks over here, and you need at least 20 trucks, BDZ signs those trucks out, what happens?
They go on their way. And part of it is they also have to do, in order to work for Tapney, a trucking company, in order to work for Tapney, they have to do paperwork.
Right.
So like BDZ's trucks, they have 20 trucks that need work. They have to do the paperwork with Tapney before they can work for Tapney.
Let's say they already did the paperwork, but they didn't know about this job because whoever dispatched those trucks. I mean, you see where I'm going with that? Right.
Yes.
Okay. What if you just wanted rock, and let's say you only needed a few loads of rock just for the entrance right there? You don't want to pay the 4-hour minimum. You pay the 4-hour minimum. That's just what it is.
Right.
Okay. Change of plans or cancel of job. What do you do? 13 trucks show up. You have a change, like you get shut down that day by the county. Has that happened ever before?
Not lately, but it's happened where we either have to pay them a 4-hour minimum or find another Tapney job for them to go to.
Okay. How do you hold the trucks accountable?
We don't.
And you can't.
No, and it's if they had truck yesterday tell me that, okay, traffic's too bad. It's not cost effective. It's not his. I didn't argue with the driver because I get nowhere. It caused problems.
Right.
And my first thought was, okay, you're financially responsible for that. How?
Right.
You're making money, not spending money.
Right. Right. On the totem pole, where do the trucks sit?
Currently, they're at about 75% because without them, we're dead in the water.
Right. Right. What is the core number one problem with the trucks and the trucking industry?
Commitment. And it's like for this job, we have, say, 20 trucks. Well, if they have another job, well, I need to give a couple to this company just to keep them happy.
Right.
We lose those trucks because currently this job is running the majority.
Right. Okay. Paperwork. How much is paperwork a nightmare? Is paperwork a nightmare?
It's a huge nightmare.
Okay.
For accuracy in numbers, because if I'm adding numbers, I can make a mistake.
Right.
Add those numbers 2 or 3 different ways, and that's 2 or 3 different ways you can make a mistake.
What about in accounting? Does it ever come back? Does it ever come back? Hey, Anthony.
Not to me, no.
No. Okay. So you don't know about billing. Do you know your cost per yard right now?
I do not.
Would you like to know it?
Yes.
Would that be, how beneficial would that be to the company?
It would be huge. They would know by looking, okay, what do we need to fix? Are we running efficient as possible?
Right.
Or is there something we can do? We're always doing that in the field, but if you can see real numbers, that gives you more drive, I guess you could say.
So everything's just an estimate.
Correct.
And there's really no hard number until you pencil it all down at the end of, like,
until the job's done.
Pretty much. Okay. Yeah, to see the numbers in real time as a job is going would just be
It'd be huge.
How often do you send trucks off and they're lost?
Today it's happened twice.
What happens?
Pay for the hours till they find where they're going, or come back, I can't find it.
So they are not responsible whatsoever?
No.
Okay. Wouldn't that be nice if they were pulled off and having lunch, that you're not responsible for that?
Right.
They'd be on their time. You could see where the trucks are at exactly. Coming in, instead of Ray doing, you could see he's right here at the S corners. The trucks would know.
2 trucks at the pit, scraping out to go get rock, and they spend 20 minutes talking.
Yeah, happens all the time. It's a long poop.
Yes.
Okay. What info does the office want from you with the trucking?
How many, occasionally they ask round time before they get to tickets, how many loads we got out each day, and where we're at for total yardage.
Because they want to know that cost per yard.
Correct.
That's the number we're all looking for, right?
Right.
Okay. Where do you see the most of the fat that could be trimmed in the trucking industry?
Trucks lollygagging at the pit, the BS sessions, stuff like that. Stopping at the store, 2 of them stop at the store, spend 30 minutes talking. We don't know that.
So when you send them off to Baker and Baker holds them up for 30 minutes, like, you're on the hook for all that.
Correct.
And if you saw that, then you could send the truck somewhere else.
Correct.
Okay. Because when I used to drive a truck, back when the wheels were still blocks, we were going dropping, we were dumping over there at Farmington, and we were held up for 45 minutes. Like, they were dumping one truck at a time.
That's happening to us now at Angel Quarry. We're getting trucks hung up there for 20 minutes.
I don't know if you're going to know this, but how much money do you lose when you don't have enough trucks?
Well, the office tells me that it's not the loss that I think it is, because we're still moving dirt.
Right.
Because I was shutting if we got down to 8 trucks, I was shutting it down.
Right.
Because I didn't think it was cost effective. Project manager told me
but
it was.
But you don't know.
Project manager says it's still cost effective.
Okay. So there's a buffer in there. But you just don't know your real numbers. Oh,
right.
Man, that'd just be so, gosh dang it. That's a line counts. Okay. So, at the end of the day, when you're signing out trucks, would you like to rate the trucks to know that this was a good driver or a bad driver? And then when there are bad drivers that run over stakes and like stakes, or just don't follow directions whatsoever, or want to be argumentative, would you like not to have those guys back?
Yes, for sure.
And you don't control or get to say who comes back and who doesn't.
Correct.
Okay. What info would you like to know? Meaning traffic, directions, if they're stopping for food.
I would like to know where, with round time's an hour and 10 minutes,
right?
And it takes an hour and 45. I'd like to know where that time was lost.
Absolutely.
If it was in traffic, it was in traffic. If they're just messing around, talking to the other drivers, I'd like to know that too.
When the truck takes off and he's going to dump dirt, not bringing back rock, and you want rock back, how do you get a hold of that truck?
Wait till he gets back to site.
That's big too.
Yes.
You could contact, because we don't have any of these guys' numbers or anything. Once
Right.
you let him go, you have no idea if he's coming back or not.
Right.
Okay. The directions. Wouldn't you like to just point, click, and then it's already sent to him? He knows exactly where he's going. You can walk right over here, like you were saying earlier, where dump the pile of rock to the pinpoint where you want him to dump the rock at.
That would be huge.
Then
If you save 5 minutes, that's $10.
Right.
One truck.
Right. And how many trucks do you have on this job currently?
I have 17.
And each truck is right around $120 an hour?
Yes.
How often do they mark that they took a lunch?
Never.
How often do they take a lunch?
I would say they at least stop for 15, 20 minutes. 50% of them ever do every day.
Okay. I don't know if I have any more. I think that's pretty much we knocked down who orders trucks, take them through your day. You schedule you and the super schedule trucks. Is the super on the site?
He's here most mornings for a little while.
Is that Aaron?
Warren.
And Warren just sees the overview map. So he's kind of the general of the job.
Correct.
He oversees and tries to delegate over here what needs to be done next.
Make sure come in, check in most days to make sure we're on track. And any fine-tuning he needs to do to make us more efficient.
So he's just doing this off of guesstimation also?
Correct.
When do you find out your cost per yard? Is that at the end of the job, or could you do it at the end of every day?
I could do it probably once a week.
Okay.
I have to call, and then they have to add it up.
Right. What don't you like about Frank's Trucking? I don't want to say Frank's Trucking. I don't want to just single him out. Like, what don't you like about, because you've worked with many trucking companies, what don't you like about some of the trucking outfits?
Some of the drivers, like we talked before,
mm-hmm.
If you have a problem with one, you still have to keep him.
Right. We all have to work together.
Even though it's more beneficial. It's cheaper to get rid of him than pay him to work.
Right.
Because you're losing money with every round he makes.
Have you ever kicked the truck off the job?
Yes. And it was one of Tapney's trucks. I called the truck boss and told her I do not want her back on the job. And she didn't truck on the job I was on for over a year.
It's the driver. It's nothing else. It's the
Correct.
driver.
That just so happened to be a lady.
Right.
And I've done it with other companies, but I remember that one specific.
If a truck continually breaks down on the job, what do you do?
I typically, not on this job, but typically tell the truck boss that I don't need him back.
Okay. If he takes off the Les Schwab, do they ever mark that on there?
Usually they do.
Okay.
Do I always know about it? No.
Do you have any way of knowing about it?
Not unless they tell me.
If a guy just marked down, say your hoe operator was not taking load count, could they just mark down loads?
Yes, with it. They could also short dump rock, which is done often. They could short dump rock, come back, and rarely would we catch it. I had suspicion once, but I couldn't confirm it, so I didn't say anything. I had a truck that was supposed to be hauling rock, come back empty. And he had a ticket missing that day. I try to... You have to assume everyone's honest. But I always confirm honesty.
Right.
The same as what you do with Tapney. You're checking numbers and times to verify honesty.
Right.
Because it's not if someone messes you over, you want to verify that they're not.
And we're dealing with humans, so there is errors.
Right. There's honest mistakes, and then there's people trying to take advantage of other people.
Right. Absolutely. That's pretty much all my questions. Do you have anything that you would like to add, or do you think anything we missed?
Not that I can think
of. We bounced around
right
a little bit, I understand,
right.
But I'm just trying to see if you see anything that I missed, or
not that I can think of right now, anyway. But you know, I see you every day, or you know, I can call you if anything comes up. I'll definitely suggest it or say, hey, what about this?
Right. Okay, so I wanted you to take a look at this. And this is kind of what I'm thinking the app's going to be laid out as. So you'll sign in, go select truck number, today's agenda. It'll show them a map where you want them to dump. It'll show in real time where they're going. You can hit these reports to see where traffic is, report a police, a crash, a hazard, fuel price. This is for on the trucking side. Map issues. So if they need to, or app issues, places like food and like fuel, that's probably going to mingle these two together. Roadside help, so if they do get in a situation or if they get caught at the scale. That's another one. Who pays for scale tickets?
Currently, Frank has got 3 or 4 on this job, and right now they're paying for them. My project manager said if it's an issue, he would pay it.
They can do a camera, they can do closures, scale, they can do reports, my profile, my job. So traffic, if they ran into, like we had that issue going over Cornelius Pass when I called you that the semi was rolled over.
Right.
That's huge. That's huge.
And see, like yesterday, for an example, the road up here, the main road that goes west, there was a serious crash up there waiting on life flight. When the truck drivers come back and told me the pass was closed, we couldn't get to the pit, I started signing trucks out empty. Well, another truck comes up and says, hey, I just came up the pass, there's no problems, that wreck has passed where we're going. Had I known that, we could have got it was only 3 more loads, but 3 more loads is 3 more loads.
Absolutely. So there's misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation.
Correct.
I think that's where we're trying to go with the whole thing, is that it's all shoot by the hip, and it's information, but it's a lot of it's misinformation.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Crashes, major, minor, multiple. Hazards that the trucks run into, the app issues, places, food, parts, so that I could, on the food, what I'm thinking is if they're on a route, they could, maybe the deal of the day, we could get other restaurants, do a deal of the day where they could just be taken out, or they could be delivered to the job and you can hand it, or they could be handed out or whatever, something like that. Roadside help, so that you would know that this guy's broke down and he can send a report, if he needs 911, if he's just broke down, or if he has just a flat tire, it would alert
his dispatcher would know too.
Yeah, right away. They don't, red light cameras and shit like that, and then scale reports, but it'd give them a report today, weekly, and monthly, so that they would know exactly what they're hauling and how efficient they were.
And the company would also be able to know what kind of drivers they have. Are they getting their money's worth, not just us as contractors?
Okay, I got another question for you. So how far out did you... Okay, so when you guys know about this job, you're getting this job, if you had a calendar and then you could book, hey, you know approximately how much yardage you guys are going to move and for how long. So then you could, on the app, you could put that on the calendar, kind of like how you book a flight. Have you booked a flight before? Yes. Okay, so the 6th through the 16th, it's all highlighted, and you need 30 trucks a day. And if you could get those 30 trucks to commit it way in advance to work on this job for that long, that'd be big.
It'd be huge. because you wouldn't have to hunt for trucks. They'd already know, okay, and then for them too, it'd be job security. We know we got this work coming up.
Right. So how do you guys, you don't though, right? You just pretty much the day before or a couple of weeks before?
A week to 2 weeks before on this type of job, because you work struggling with permits.
Right.
Then you push it, you get permits, and then you go, and then like now, I got trucks running heavy for the rest of this week and potentially part of next week.
So Frank knew about this, and he knew you needed that many trucks.
He just don't have access to that many trucks. He's got so many, well, he's got 3 Tapany jobs alone that he's supplying trucks for. He has, to my understanding, he has control of 30 trucks. We're running 15 to 20. And so he's got to take those other 10 to 15 and spread them out over these other jobs. He don't want to give us all the trucks we need, and then tell that other outfit, the other Tapany jobs, hey, we can't get you any trucks. Then he loses that. They'll go to somebody else if there's trucks available.
How many trucks are there?
No clue.
A lot.
Well, you got Taylor's running 50 something.
They dispatch 154 a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then Tapney's got what, 13? Frank's got control of 30, and the green trucks, they got control of 18.
Gradvic? Mm-hmm. Right. And then TFT too.
Right. We use them on occasion.
Right. And then yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other trucking outfits out there that have quite a bit of trucks that are working other jobs that get cut off that could potentially come over here, or they got cut off. They live over in St. Helens or Scappoose or whatever. They could grab a load here and then take it over there and get that other extra hour in or whatever instead of running empty. Would it be beneficial at some point, you think, if you guys were just hauling rock or dirt, to Means Nursery? And I don't know if this would make sense or not, or how I could make this possibly work, but if BDZ needed rock back, could we split the cost per hour and then have them rock back here, but you could add more trucks? You see what I'm saying?
It would be 2 different companies. I think that would be a accounting nightmare.
Right. But if it was split up through the app?
If it was split up through the app, that sounds like it would work.
Like, your time stopped at Means, and then from there, they went to Scappoose, grabbed the rock, and then brought it back to BDZ. It would stop there, and then from here to here, they would come get dirt. And then, now say you guys needed 20 trucks, and they had 15 trucks over there, but if it was 35 trucks, and it was taking a little bit longer, but you had that flow still.
It would still save money.
I think so. I think it would save, because half the time you're running back empty.
Right.
And you're paying for that emptiness to come back. So your cost per yard would even drop even further.
Like us hauling dirt over to Linton, it cost an extra 20 to 30 minutes for them to scrape their rock box and get rock. But it still saves money to do the backhaul. If I send them out empty, it's an hour round.
Right.
So I'm saving a half hour by paying them to scrape their box.
We're not dealing with sticky mud here.
Yeah, it's sticky.
Is it pretty sticky?
I verified it when I was over picking those trees up yesterday. It's sticky.
All right. Anything else you could think of that would, you see where the app could be more of a beneficial? Or?
I think it'd be a huge help.
Okay.
And all the way around.
Right.
Truck countability, availability of trucks, efficiency, knowing what your cost per yard is, and being able to basically community use trucks.
Right. Okay. I think that is everything. If there's anything else, Anthony, that you'd like to add, please let me know, and then we'll continue this.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hopefully I was some help.